So there are times when you may want to install the hardtop on the Lotus Elise, and in this video I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. Hey, what's up? Welcome back. So the idea of a convertible is awesome. Just thinking about driving down the open road with the wind in your hair can be really freeing. It sounds great, right? It is great until you're going freeway speeds, and then the wind buffeting and the noise can really take over and be extremely fatiguing. If you're going on a long drive, it's even worse. Now, Lotus did include a soft top with all the Elises, and that soft top helps a little bit to give you a little bit of wind protection, a little bit of noise dampening from the outside elements. But it's not great, and if you're going on a long road trip or something, you are still going to be exhausted by the time you get there just from the noise. So there are times when you may want to install the hardtop on the Lotus Elise. And Lotus did a really great job designing this car with the hardtop in mind. In fact, the car looks great with the hardtop on, as if it were intended to be that way from the beginning. The thing that Lotus didn't do, though, was design a place to keep the hardtop within the car when it's not in use. So if you're going to remove the hardtop, you do have to leave it at home or somewhere safe. They give you a flimsy bag to keep it in, but as I'll show you in a second, it is not great in terms of protecting it. And I always wrap my hardtop in towels as well to give it a little bit of extra protection against scratches and dings and stuff like that while it's being stored. And yes, of course, the instructions for installing the hardtop are in the owner's manual, and you can refer to that if you want, but figure some people like to have a little bit more of a visual reference. All right, the only tool that you'll really need to install the hardtop is a T40 torx bit. That's the star kind of bit here. And if you don't have one of these for like a ratchet handle, they actually do include one in the Lotus toolkit as like a little Allen key that's the right size for this. So personally, I like using this because it's just a little bit easier to use. But if you don't have one, just go in your toolbox, in your toolkit that came with your car, and it should be there. All right, so the pieces you should have are obviously the hardtop, this sort of trim panel that goes up against the top of the front windshield to cover up the bolts and stuff. And you should have these two side trim panels as well that cover up the bolts on the back where they mount to the roll bar. I'll show you how all that works. And then the top itself should have these hardware fittings on it and these little attachment points. I'll show you when we're installing that how that all works. But these are actually have captive bolts so that they stay attached to the hardtop piece. All right, so the Lotus hardtop is not extremely heavy. You think it's heavy?
No, not too heavy.
But it is kind of awkward to do with just one person, so I would highly recommend getting an assistant to help you place it on the top of the car. So I found the easiest way is just get on either side of the car here and just walk it back into place. You want to make sure the little metal brackets are kind of out of the way while you set it into rough position. And as long as it's like that, you can do the rest of it yourself, one person, just like aligning the holes and stuff from inside is no problem once you've got help getting it kind of generally on there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before you start bolting anything in, you want to make sure that all these little fittings and attachment points are properly aligned and in the right places. So this is currently not. These are loose, but that's so that you can get it into the little hole right here that you can probably hopefully see. So you want these two to go in there. In the back here, you want this bracket to clip underneath into this little slot, just like that. So I do the front ones first and then worry about these because these ones tend to have a little bit more play in them. So I would do those front ones first. Some of the later cars have a bracket in the middle of the hardtop back here too, but the early cars do not have that. And then once you have that located in there, you can kind of start to give it, just maybe get it like finger tight. Again, apologies for the lighting down here, but again, you want to make sure that that fits up into the bottom of the fitting where the soft top normally goes. Again, just kind of get it loosely on there to make sure you've got all of them lined up. Because if you tighten one down and it's not right, then you got to undo all of them. Then you want to come outside the car and just make sure it looks like everything's kind of lined up with the hardtop. Make sure that the, none of the weather stripping got caught or pinched weird in it. Generally looks pretty good here. Once you have all that and everything seems to be in place, you can start to tighten these down more securely with your ratchet. One thing that it does say in the owner's manual that you want to do is make sure that the roof is fully to the front and that therefore these are completely aligned in there. You don't want to over torque these because I don't know, they go into the fiberglass and there's like a metal fitting in there, so don't go too crazy, but just make sure that they're really snug. Once you have the rear ones in, you just have to attach these little trim pieces. They just go on with some Velcro, kind of press in right here like that. Nothing too fancy. Go do the one on the other side. All right, so this last piece is actually just a trim piece that covers this up and hides the interior part of this. So it's not even really necessary to hold the roof on. It is just a cosmetic piece, but I like to put it on because I think, one, this just looks kind of weird without it, and it looks way better. So there's 3 holes here. You'll want to line those up and just thread those in by hand to get them started. A lot of Lotuses get a sagging headliner as well. Very common problem on these cars. Luckily, mine has not been too bad. I don't use my hardtop a lot, so it's mostly in storage, but I do have a video on how to tighten this up because the cosmetic trim piece here, this actually did start to sag, and I did a video, I'll include a link, that shows you how to reattach that. All right, so there you go. That is how you install a hardtop on a Lotus Elise.